Coming up next on Live, Work, Play, we spend time with Andrea Bramson and Judy Russell and their staff, and we also feature some talented artwork by their artists at Full Spectrum Studio.
Welcome to the Full Spectrum Studio. This is a working studio. We are a studio on the island for artists with disabilities, and we have all kinds of stuff to show you, so let's get started. You have walked into what is a fully functional studio space. We're going to start by showing you our weaving technology, our weaving capability. We have one 4-foot loom, we have 2 smaller looms, and the way that we use this is we currently are using recycled fabric that we use in our weaving activities, but you're going to see some of those finished products when we get to the end of our tour. I'm going to walk you past some works in progress here. The other media within which we work is pottery. We have a lot of pottery samples here, one of which is, this is a work in progress. This is going to be a whole village that we're putting together, all houses made by members of our community. We're going to be entering it into a major exposition before the end of the year. Here's a fun thing, part of that village that we're building. These are some houses that were built by other members of our community, and we've given them the opportunity to make these a little bit different. These will all be electrified and have a little light inside of them when they're finished. Right now they're still work in progress, which is a hallmark of a working studio. And this is a piece where all of the decisions for color, shape, size were all made by the artist. The artist was advised that they could put their house on a platform, and the artist chose the platform, chose the colors. This piece was also given to the artist as a potential platform, and the artist chose instead to actually paint a background. So when we showed the artist how this could be used, she was very pleased and she was perfectly happy with it. The same applies for all of these others. The artists selected their platforms, they decided how they were wanting to see their pieces finished. This artist actually put little steps in front of his house and a little walkway, and chose to make this an open piece so that the light will actually come through it really nicely. This piece, same thing. The artist chose to, when encouraged what could be put on the platform for the house, the artist chose to design it like a garden. And so this is the garden that she put on her house. This is our major working area for pottery. This is where our 6 permanent artists currently do pottery work. We actually have 7 permanent artists, but one of them chooses not to do pottery. She's actually very engaged in beading activities right now, which is really exciting. You might have noticed that not everything on this table is pottery. We have some really nice 2-dimensional artwork. This is a piece by Carson Shade. It is a replica of a Monet piece, all about the water lilies. This is an entry she has going on for the Hilton Head Art League Fabulous Fakes show.
Absolutely. How long have you been working on this?
hours and hours and hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long process.
Where is the book that provided you the inspiration for that?
This is the book.
Okay.
What is it you're working with? Why are you doing this? What is this for?
It's for Fabulous Bakes.
And that is a...
That's a contest at the art wakes.
I see.
And who is the original artist of that piece?
Monet.
We have our equipment here all set up. We have a kiln, we have our pug mill, we have a slab roller, and we use pottery as our primary medium because we find that it gives our artists the greatest latitude for self-expression to begin with. It allows them to do sculpting, it allows them to do two-dimensional work, it allows them to do bas-relief, it allows them to understand the concepts of watercolors and translucency relative to opacity and deep colors. We give them instructions on values and hues and how those affect and complement each other. And all of those things we can do in pottery. The great thing is we can then translate that also into two-dimensional work like painting and multimedia that includes acrylics, oil pastels, regular pastels, colored crayons, and so on. So as we move out of that general and main working area, we come over to this, which is also very much a working area, home to our slab roller, which right now is not rolling any clay, but it also it is a home to some other work in progress that goes with the houses that are over there, but also a really large area for cleanup. It's really imperative that in a clay studio, one have access to consistent running water. So we built the studio with all of these elements fully integrated so that they can be used. You'll notice that all of our tables are folding tables, and we do that quite purposefully so that we can remain as flexible as possible. Once a month, we host our friends, our colleagues from Pockets Full of Sunshine, and when they bring 10 people into the room and complement those with our 6 permanent artists, and sometimes all 7 of them, we need to find space for everybody. So that's why we have the folding tables. We're always in the market for new ones and heavy and sturdier ones, but they have to be folding, they have to be something that we can move around.
My name is Kara Artman. It's a fortuitous name for an artist. I was born and raised in Streator, Illinois. I moved to the Low Country in 2009 upon graduation from college. I went to school and focused in ceramics. I went to the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. I've lived here since then, enjoying the Low Country. I am a full-time artist outside of just being their art director. The artists have several different sections of the studio they can work in. We have a full ceramic studio. We also have a full weaving studio. We currently have 2 large looms and 2 small looms. We have a glass fusing section where they can obviously cut and fuse glass. We are looking to transition to having a little bit of stained glass as well. We have a new volunteer that is familiar with that, so that's exciting. We do painting. We have a quilter that they work with. And so they've been piecing together what's going to be a quilt of all of their work. And really, if they come in, a new individual or the individuals we already have, and they would like to try a different medium, we do everything we can to help that come to fruition.
Let me walk you into our wood shop. This is a really interesting little thing that we have going on here as well. This is not a space that our artists spend a lot of time in, because of all of the equipment and all of the tools that are in here. We have our volunteer Doug has put his entire wood shop in here, primarily because he didn't have space in his house, and we said, yeah, we can definitely use you. So when he put all of his things in here, he said, don't you worry, I'm here for you. Let me help you with whatever you need. So he has. He has helped us with moving walls, with putting in doors, with moving furniture, with name the activity. He's also working very closely with our artists to help them finish their pieces. So whether it's framing, mounting, putting a stand together, helping them understand the importance and the complementarity of a finished piece and the elements that he can bring to it to make their pieces really shine.
Hello, this is Judy Russell. I'm Catherine McDermott's mother, one of the artists at Full Spectrum Studio. And it's a 501c3 that another mother and I founded about 3 years ago. My daughter and Andrea's daughter had been really participating in PEP and doing ceramics full time. When COVID came and PEP had to shut down, they still wanted to practice their art and develop their art. So we started in Victoria's grandmother and grandfather's garage, gradually evolved into renting space, and a couple of years ago purchased a building, and we now have 7 regular permanent artists that we work with, an art director, a studio manager, and a number of volunteers. I was in the generation where young girls were taught to sew at an early age. I had my first sewing machine, which was a hand crank one, when I was about 4, and have been sewing off and on ever since, although my professional life was spent in college and university administration. But I have been sewing now for over 75 years. It was a completely different 3 generations ago, but once in a while, one of our artists will decide to do something in fabric art, and I'm very lucky that I'm able to help them with it. Been sewing for forever. It's just something that I can pass on.
So what's this process?
This is called wedging. And so in ceramics, your clay comes in bags and you have to wedge it in order to get it to the consistency that you want. You can also reclaim clay. And so reclaiming clay is just taking pieces of clay that weren't used, putting them into a bucket, adding a little water, and then when it is ready, it comes out, it gets wedged, and then they're able to use it. With this, because we have 2 tones of clay in there, this is all reclaimed. You can tell when it's ready because it gets to this one solid coloration. Like if Danny holds up hers still needs mixed. It's got the 2 tones right now, and mine's 1.
Gotcha.
And then from here, and then I'm actually gonna send it through the machine. So this is our slab roller. And then we have a slab of clay. And so this is our gratitude texture, acts of kindness, powerful positivity.
My name is Danielle Keller. I'm the studio manager. So my day-to-day duties to make sure Full Spectrum runs as it should is I do a lot of data entry for their artwork, so we keep track of everything that they make so we can go back and look at it, be inspired, or look at our craftsmanship and how we can improve. Other things that I do is when our ceramic instructor, our art director isn't here, I do painting and all different types of medium with them, so I change it up. I was born in Michigan, but I spent most of my life in Florida, and then I came up to Savannah, Georgia to study painting at SCAD, and since then I've graduated and moved here. I always say when people ask me about my job that I've never laughed or danced more at a job that I've had. So every time when we come in, we have our little dance breaks, we crack jokes, and it really is a community of amazing artists.
There are so many things I love about my job. There's never a bad day, even when it's not, when it's gloomy and dreary outside, they can still bring a smile out, and so that's always wonderful. It's impressive to see the things that they come up with. I'm always impressed by the level of skill they bring to their artwork, the level of dedication they bring to it, and really, it's just impressive to get to see.
So this is our library where our artists have gained their inspiration for the fabulous fakes. And there's everything from Library of Congress to How to Draw to Birds of Prey to specific artists to prints, historical art pieces, contemporary, and a book that I really feel is important for all of us is this one is by a program in San Francisco called Creativity Explored, and it's the artwork of all of the artists in that program. This is one of the programs that inspired us to start our program here, and these are all artists with disabilities. So it's kind of a goal of ours to have a book like this at some point in the future. Art is art. Come on over here. I want to show you kind of a really important space. An important source of revenue for the studio is retail sales. The fun thing is that everything we sell has a story. Everything comes with a reason for its existence. Everything has a background that we want to make sure people understand. We have here something really simple. We actually started doing these with Victoria and Kat almost 2 years ago. We call them wall chimes. A wall chime is a plaque that has been designed to hang, but also with every little movement becomes different. And when we started doing these with Victoria and Kat, and now with the rest of our artists, it becomes something that is not just something visually appealing, it obviously has a tactile quality, and now it has an audio quality as well. So these are two complementary wall chimes that are actually all based on what we call Kat's geometric shapes. Kat started cutting out geometric shapes at one point and has just kind of stayed with them. And every time it moves, it's different. So Kat made all of the choices for these also. She chose where the items should hang, at what height, in what order, in what direction they should hang. She wanted to make sure that they kind of followed her thought process. This one is all triangles, this one has a number of different shapes on it. She purposely made those decisions. And that's part of what we want to do with our artists. We want to give them the chance to make those choices, to put them in the driver's seat, if you will, so that they can see what their decision-making results in. This is an example of the work that our volunteer mom, Judy, does. She's Kat's mom. And this was, when Judy and I first started this, she went into an upholstery shop at one point and said, "Hey, do you have any samples? Any pieces of stuff that you just want to get rid of?" And the guy said, "Well, actually, yeah, I do." And he took her to a back room and showed her 6 huge industrial-sized bags full of upholstery fabric, samples. And these were all samples from a vendor. The organization was changing their vendors, so those particular samples were no longer relevant. So he had all these samples that were literally going to go to the landfill. She brought them in, and she has slowly but surely, I think she's used the bulk of those samples. A lot of this fabric is new stuff that has come in, but she turns them into these amazing little bags, all kinds of different sizes, lovely little magnet to hold your stuff together, big enough for a tablet, your cell phone, suntan lotion, and your keys, or a bag to carry as your purse all day, every day.
Michelle Good. My daughter is one of the artists here, and I'm loosely in charge of the weaving studio, and I was wondering what I could do here as a volunteer, and we had a master weaver come in and set up the loom with her husband, and then she taught me how to warp the loom and how to teach the weaving to the students and the artists. So that's what I ended up doing. It was a real labor of love because I had no idea how to do any of that. But then after 2 years, we're weaving nice products. We also do things like this where we incorporate their ceramics into some weavings that they do. So this one was made by Kat, and she loves to do the houses and the sailboats. And along with a couple of other pieces from some others, we were able to make a scene. Take a couple of months before by the time you get the weaving done, determine what pieces that have been made that might go into it, and getting one of the volunteers to get a vision with that artist to help them to design it, and then work putting it together. It takes a couple of months, yeah. The strings going this way on the loom are called the warp, and we have about 500 strings. That makes about 42 inches here. And then this is called the weft, anything we weave across. And the weft can be anything. We use fabric or t-shirt strips, but it's all just very unfinished. And when you get the product done, then it just has a nice worn look. So this is what our weavers do. This is what our artists do. It's just back and forth. They get to choose the colors, the fabrics. And they have to run the pedals and the beater bar. And we put in a few wefts at the beginning just to get the strings to all come back together. And then we start a border, and this is a different kind of shuttle. It's called a boat shuttle. And then we start to weave it across, and it makes about 1.5 inch border, and then we start some kind of a pattern on the rug. So, and this could be a small rug. We have just probably about 2 yards left to weave, so maybe making a smaller rug or a table runner. Or maybe we'll be inspired to just fold it and sew it together and make a purse out of it. We have some pretty funky purses that we've sold in the past.
We started this because my co-founder, Judy Russell, and I both have daughters with disabilities that were very keen to do art on a regular basis. They had been participating in a program that was very good, very well respected, very well known, but that was not art focused. It had some art elements, and our daughters really wanted to do arts more regularly. So we did what a lot of parents do. We just said, well, we'll just start our own. How hard can it be? And now we know, and so we did.
I actually found them through my college job posting site, and then I did a deep dive research on what the studio was. I've been working at studios since I was 16, and when I read all about them, I was like, this is the perfect place for me.
I actually worked with 2 of the founding artists and their mothers when I worked at Programs for Exceptional People, so PEP. And so I left there in 2019 to pursue my own artwork, was approached a few months later by the 2 founding mothers whom were looking to expand the art program for their daughters. And so I began working with their daughters independently, and it slowly progressed into opening a full studio.
We are in the studio every weekday, Monday through Friday, from 10 to 3. We'll be here longer if you need us to be. We have a small retail space that is also open every weekday from 10 to 3, and we also participate in various markets throughout the Low Country. We're at the community market at Shelter Cove on Saturdays from 9:30 to 12:30. We are at the Hilton Head Farmers Market on Tuesdays from 9 to 1, and we participate in a number of specialty markets throughout the year as well. These are shelves. So when you have a kiln, they have what's called kiln furniture. The furniture is shelves and stilts. And what keeps the shelves, separates the shelves, is I'll put the shelf down on the bottom, and then I'll put stilts around it so that I can put another shelf on top. So they're layered all the way out. The kiln has elements all the way around the inside. So all of the heat is evenly coming in from the outside all the way in. This is the thermocouple. This is what measures the temperature at which everything in here gets baked, if you will. This kiln will go up to 2,400 degrees. We fire at a low fire rate, which does not exceed 1,950, which is still really hot. But it allows us to be very consistent on the kind of clay that we use, the kind of glazes that we use, and the kind of finishes that we expect. So I'm going to layer, I'm going to put my stilts in. And once I know where the stilts go, I can then go ahead and start put in the pieces. Because this is what's called greenware, these pieces can actually touch, and they could even be layered. So we could put one piece on top of another. If they had been glazed, this would be a way of making them all stick together, which is not what we want. This is a really fun way of illustrating what our artists have started to do, which is they're using 2 textures at the same time. The first texture that Carson used here is a lace, and then on top of the lace she put shell impressions, and her shell impressions are very much branded to her. She loves shells and she loves all things beach, and so there's her studio stamp.
This is our market that we have every Tuesday at Honeyhorn and Hilton Head, and it's from 9 until 1 o'clock every Tuesday. And this is our booth for Full Spectrum Studios with our original art, our mugs, our stickers, and we now have our Christmas out. Today has been fantastic. Fantastic customers, people still on vacation coming, and especially looking at the Christmas artwork that the artists have done. Very popular. And both Victoria and Carson have sold a lot of merchandise today. Both their plates sold today.
Yeah,
Awesome.
down to
And they're wearing both their art on their t-shirts. That's Carson's artwork. Right there.
Oh.
And that's Victoria's. There. I'm going to point out who did them too.
my pig. I only have one pig plate left, and
Birthday plate.
yeah, and this one here.
Now there's me. This is one of my stickers. My palm trees. My pop art palm tree. The high tides and beach vibes. Magnets.
Some magnets.
The magnets.
Well, we moved here about a year and a half ago, and before we moved here, I always thought Carson wanted to be a dancer. But we moved here, we came to one of the markets at Shelter Cove, and we discovered Full Spectrum Studios with my in-laws, and we decided to give it a try. Right, Carson?
And I loved it.
And you loved it? And now you're making clay
I'm
designs.
making clay, and I'm doing brushy stuff, and I just love it. You know, it's like my second family.
Encouraging the abilities rather than only recognizing the disabilities is what we're here for.
People will routinely ask us, you know, so what disabilities do you accept? What kind of folks participate here? And what we have realized, and we've known obviously, is that we're not diagnosticians. We can't say you qualify or don't qualify, but we want to welcome anyone who feels like they would be appropriate in our environment. If you feel like this is the right place for you, come on in. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what it feels like. We have a core group of 7 permanent artists, and as our cadre amplifies, we want to make sure that we have the right mix and blend of people. Maybe it includes you, maybe it includes someone you know. So we just want to make sure people realize that we're not here to put a label on anyone. We want you to self-identify to us.
Let me give you a little story, Troy. We were at a market the other day, and a lady came up and she was looking at her stuff and looking at her stuff. And I finally said, so are you familiar with our studio? And she goes, yeah, I am. She says, I saw your stuff at the state fair in Columbia, and I had just delivered it to the fair like the week before, and it still gives me goosebumps, because to know that we're having that kind of an impact and that kind of reach, and that folks are recognizing and appreciating and being inclusive of our artists, that's what it's all about. We are the Full Spectrum Studio. You can find us online at www.fullspectrumstudio.org. You can come see us at 33 Bow Circle on Hilton Head Island, and we just look forward to seeing you out here at the market or at our store.